sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
The other dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Oh!
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Fantasy Sports and Politics. It's me, it's Mr. FSP, doing what I do because I do it for you all day, every day. Now look, I'm going to tell you, I am not perfect. I am not. But one thing I am good. So, with that being the case, I'm going to tell you how if you played certain things that I said last week, you came out as a winner. You came out as a winner. And if you follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X, I'm posting a lot of material that will help you make decisions on things you want to do as far as your fantasy goes, as well as your extracurricular adult activities outside of, paying for adult entertainment. I'm talking about gambling. Let me be clear. All right. So with that being said, today's show, we're going to talk about week 15 in the NFL, the fantasy playoffs. Some started last week. Most start this week. I'm going to take you into the league I commission and break down the two quarterfinal matchups. Now, there's some history behind what I'm going to share with you, okay, in that. And it doesn't matter. It's going to come out on the show, so I'm going to talk about it, okay? And also, I'm going to give you your locks. Again, this week, now look, let me be very clear. Vegas has numbers very high, week 15. And I thought a couple times, ridiculous. But with a teaser on a lot of these picks this week, I really think you can cash in. I really think so. So I'm going to talk about those today as well. And in sad news, we're going to talk about what happened allegedly with Michigan. The University of Michigan is having an issue with their former head coach, Jerome Moore. There's more to it, and there's more layers to the story. Not just the story, but layers to the story that are traps. And I'll talk about it. Not too deep, but I'm going to get in deep enough, okay? So with that being said, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load my music. Y'all ready? I don't know if that's too high or not, so I'm going to bring it down just a bit. Yeah, there we go. I like it right there. I'm going to go to my records. And I'm about to tell you what I did in week 14. Winners, losers, all alike. We started out the week with the win by the Detroit Lions. Bravo. Shake them up. Then we got a win with the Seattle. So that's 2. I picked the Ravens. Let me make sure. I forget where I wrote it down. But I picked the Ravens, so I lost that. So now 2-1. I picked the Browns. I'm 2-2. The Browns should have won that game. The Browns should have won that game. I picked the Jaguars 3-2. Picked the Commanders 3-3. I picked the Dolphins 4-3. The Bucks, what in the 4-4. I picked the Bills 5-4. Broncos 6-4. Packers 7-4. Rams 8-4. Texans 9-4. I picked the Eagles. So I ended up 9-5. Ended up 9-5 last week. Still 9 wins, guys. And a couple of those were upset. And one was a home report, right? But it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. So let's go to this week. Let's go to this week. Some tough games. Tough games. Now, I'm going to tell you, I did not expect Kevin Stefanski, the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns, to let Shedeur Sanders throw 42 times for 350, 60 some odd yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 interception. I did not have him in my cards. I didn't. And they call a trick play twice to go for 2. They go with the Wildcat twice to go for 2 in critical parts of the game. The biggest one and the one that hurt the most was at the end of the game. If your quarterback has been surgically taking you downfield, accompanied by the running game, why do you take him out at the most pivotal part of the game to run a gadget play that he's not involved in? Gadget play, fine. It's happened all the time. Philly special, whatever, right? But the quarterback was part of the play. Mr. Jenkins misses the pitch. Now, I'm going to say this. After reviewing the play, it would have worked if Jenkins did not miss the pitch. Because there was a lane right there for that wide receiver to run right through. Had Jenkins not missed the pitch. That defense woefully underperformed versus the Titans, and that gave me pause. What is going on? They couldn't stop a nosebleed in the running game. But Cleveland is known as one of the best run-stopping defenses and pass defense overall in the league. And you let Tony Pollard look like Marshall Faulk, Tony Dorsett, and Eric Dickerson combined? That was crazy. So, this week, Cleveland goes to Chicago. They are, I believe, a 6.5 point underdog. Listen, that defense shows up. Rome doesn't play. That's even better for Cleveland. Moore is hurt. Loveland has become the leading receiver. The tight ends, Loveland and Kmet have become the leading the leading receivers for that team. DJ Moore had 2 or 3 catches last game. Over the last 2 games, the running backs have touched the ball way more than any receiver combined for the Bears. I get it. It's cold. The weather is in the favor of a strong running team, which the Bears seem to be. But Cleveland comes from the same makeup. I'm telling you, Cleveland is going to win this game outright. Cleveland beats Chicago hands down. Take the points, make it a teaser, and make it a 13-point dog. Cleveland wins this game outright, but if they happen to lose, they are not losing by 13 or more points. They are not. The only way that happens, in my opinion, is if they have a complete meltdown again. I hope they don't. But I've got Cleveland beating the Bears outright. And it's not just because of Shedeur Sanders, right? It's because I believe the Bears are susceptible to the run game. Jenkins is a monster. I'm going to do this. If Shedeur, now remember, Shedeur is going to play 6 or 7 games. If he can beat the Bears and win at least 1 or 2 of the next 4 games, he gets Offensive Rookie of the Year. They're going to make up for all the BS that went on with him, and he's going to get Offensive Rookie of the Year. Never mind what Ibuka's doing, because Ibuka has floundered lately. I would like Jenkins, but he's made a few bonehead errors. But if Shedeur does what he did against Tennessee and does it against Chicago, and he does it again and again, he gets Offensive Rookie of the Year after playing only 7 games. Watch what I tell you. His performance dictates, if he continues, I should say, that take place. A quarterback will trump a wide receiver for that position of Rookie of the Year if they have stellar performances. Even if the team does not win, but he puts them in positions to win, he still gets that honor, in my opinion. But a lot of reporters are going to be reluctant to do that. But numbers will not lie unless Kevin and company don't provide that. We'll see. But I got Chicago losing outright to Cleveland. Next game, it's a big game, and it's only a 1.5 point spread, right? You've got Baltimore and Cincinnati. It's either 1.5 or 2.5, and in favor of Baltimore. Here's the thing, guys. T. Higgins is out, right? You can expect Jamar Chase to at least get 10 to 12 targets. How many of those he catches, I don't know. But he's going to get 10 to 12 targets, right? The Ravens defense isn't what it used to be, and they're hanging on to life support to try to make the playoffs. They have to win the division. They need Pittsburgh to lose a couple games. That's what they're going to need, right? Last time Baltimore played Cincinnati, not Baltimore, I'm thinking about Pittsburgh, but these two teams light the scoreboard up. They absolutely do. The fact that the best defensive player on Cincinnati is down for the year, defensive end, can't think of his name right now. It says a lot that they're going to be able to run that ball against Cincinnati. I don't think Lamar should be throwing the ball a lot in this game. I really don't. I don't care if it's in Cincinnati. That's where it's at. I think this is a Derrick Henry game where you bruise and batter those linebackers and those safeties and anybody else that wants to get in his way. You put the fullback, who's 300 pounds himself, in front of Derrick Henry, and you let them both roll through that defense. I honestly believe if Baltimore really wants to win this game, they keep it down, even though this team versus Cincinnati tends to give up a lot of points, even before the bad defense. They need to control the clock and just beat them into submission. You run Derrick Henry 25 times or more in this game. Lamar throws the ball 20 to 25 times. Make them count, but 20 to 25 times. Joe Burrow, he's gonna throw the ball, as I said, to Chase, Giesick, Chris Brown. He might do something. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I don't see a lot coming out of this Cincinnati's offense outside of Burrow to Chase and Giesick. But that's dangerous either way. It's a 2.5-point favorite for Baltimore. I think Baltimore, if they run the ball consistently, win this game. So I'm going Baltimore. Another game that, in my opinion, is a teaser bet that you got to think about this, guys. You got to think about this. Houston is a 10.5-point favorite over Arizona. Arizona has not played bad. I get it. Marvin Harrison Jr. is out again. But Wilson has stepped up. Right? Jacoby Brissett has been magnificent. McBride, stellar. The defense has been well. I didn't say good, I said well. But 10.5 points to a team that barely scores but has a magnificent defense? Odds makers must think that Tennessee's defense is going to turn them over and score on defense or special teams. Because I know Jacoby Brissett can throw for 300 plus. I got it. But this defense is very, very stingy. Very stingy. I'm picking Houston, of course. But as a teaser, when you get that 6 or 6.5 points, I'm going with the Cardinals to cover 17 points. They're going to cover 17 points because it's 16.5 with the teaser. Either, because it's 10.5 now. If you get 6 points, that's 16.5, and he's got to get 17. If it's a 6.5 teaser, that means they got to lose by more than 17. 17 is a push. So you don't lose any money. But they're not losing by 17. If they do, that offense of Houston's got back on track. I don't see that happening. I really don't. I'm so sorry. So tired. Okay, here's another game. The Jets at Jaguars. Vegas has the Jets at a 13.5-point underdog. Look, I know Tyrod Taylor ain't the best quarterback in the world. And I know the weapons aren't the best. But Jacksonville tends to play up and down. They really play up and down. I can't explain to you why, they just do. They're going to lean on Travis Etienne and Tootin again, which they should. But Breece Hall is no slouch himself. I'm picking Jacksonville to win the game, but in a teaser and maybe even straight up with 13.5, they're not losing by 14 in Jacksonville. If they do, that's fine, because you take the teaser at 6 points, that's 19.5, or 6.5, 20 points. This has to be a complete and utter disaster for the Jets to lose by 20 or 21 points. I don't think they're going to do that. Will they lose? Oh, I believe so. I believe so. I believe so. But not by that much. Jacksonville. Now, if you're going to play these straight up, just pick the winner, then definitely Houston, Jacksonville for sure, right? And I'm telling you, play Cleveland straight up. But to be safe, Take Cleveland in the teaser. Next game is very hard to handicap, so to speak, because my mindset says the Chargers are going to lose this game. They're 5.5 point underdogs. They beat, and they barely beat, Kansas City first game of the season in a different country. Kansas City remembers this. Kansas City loses this game. Kansas City is out of the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. Pat and company are on a mission. Herbert has a broken left hand. It hurt a lot of fantasy players, even though the Chargers won their last game. But Ladd McConkey didn't get a pass until the fourth quarter. Like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Vidal and Omarion Hampton did great work, right? But you got to get, and if Quentin Johnson is down, you definitely got to get Keenan Allen involved. You got to get Ladd McConkey involved early. You got to get Arondé Gaddison in there early. You got him. The run game will be there. You run them, yes, because that's what your makeup is. But you've got to get the ball out to your playmakers, because 3 yards in a cloud of dust aren't really going to cut it. When Patrick Mahomes, I believe this wholeheartedly, in the first drive, I believe Pat Mahomes is going to throw to Travis Kelce at least 3 to 4 times. And he's going to throw to Rashee Rice at least 3 to 4 times. That means they're going to get like 2 or 3 first downs. Whether they score or not, I don't know. But I believe he's going to throw the ball at least 8 times in the first drive. They're coming for the Chargers' throat. They are fighting for their playoff lives. If the Chargers beat them, they kick them out of the playoffs. If the Chargers beat them, they secure a higher percentage of being in the playoffs. They're already in the top 7. Do they move to 5? Do they move to 6? I think they're 6 right now, if I'm not mistaken. But that solidifies their opportunity to stay and gets rid of their long-time nemesis and division opponent for the first time in 10 years. But like I said, I believe Kansas City wins this game. They do not cover 5.5. So I would pick Kansas City straight up, but I would take the points with the Chargers. And hear me out. With 6.5 points on a teaser, they got to lose by 12. I don't think that's going to happen either. I don't think the Chargers lose by 12. So I'm taking the points. I'm also taking the teaser. But straight up, I'm taking Kansas City. All right? Buffalo at New England. Last time these two teams played, it was a total of 20 to 23 points. Total of 43 points, 20 to 23. The over-under for this game right now is sitting at 49 and a half. I don't think it's going to reach 50. So I'm taking the under on that, right? But New England wins, they win the division. They sweep Buffalo and win the division. Buffalo wins. They got a shot at the division. New England's back in. I told you guys in the summer, New England win 9 to 10 games. They've already won 11. The back end of their schedule is very tough. So that 11 wins is that a description of who they played or how they played? That's what we're about to find out. That's what we're about to find out. They won by field goal in Buffalo last time they played, right? Mr. Diggs or Mr. Cardi B went off. Will that happen again? I don't know. Quite possibly, I think so. Because Buffalo's secondary is not that good. The defense is not that good. But then again, New England's secondary isn't as good as I thought they were, but their run defense is. So Mr. Cook might cook, but he might not. That means Shakur, Coleman, what's my guy? Oh man, started his career in New Orleans, went to Dallas. He's been a journeyman. Brandon, I forget his last name right now, but he's up there in New England. They're gonna have to catch in Buffalo. They're gonna have to catch the ball. They're going to have to catch the ball. They're going to have to. Because this game needs to become a shootout. Robert Spillane, who I believe is their best linebacker, I don't know if he's doubtful or if he's already been listed as out, but it's a chance he might not play. That bodes well for the running attack of Buffalo, but it also says, hey, can we attack this certain area where he normally would be? I say yes. I really do. So even though it's a 1.5 point, again, 1.5 points, not that big of a difference. I got to go with Buffalo because I think Buffalo says, Tom Brady era is over, but Drake May's just begun. It's still Josh Allen's division until New England wins it this year. I think New England's going to win the division. They're just not going to win this game. Buffalo. All right, look. This upsets me. That the New York Giants, with nobody, is favored to beat the Washington Commanders. I get it. We're without Jaden Daniels. But Marcus Mariota has been decent. Our running attack has been god-awful. But give the ball to Chris Rodriguez. You got Debo, who's questionable. Terry McLaurin, who's back. Noah Brown, who I forgot about. He came back. So at least you have 3 outstanding receivers. You lost Zach Ertz, which is going to hurt. But this gives Bates and the other tight ends an opportunity to do what Zach Ertz did. Be that safety valve and that guy that the quarterback needs when you can't get it to Terry, Debo, or Noah. Jackson Dart has Robinson and is it Waddell or Waddle? I can't remember his name. A bunch of guys. They're just guys. I'll be honest with you. Slayton is decent. But they should not do well versus this defense. Oddsmaker says they will, and they can because they're in New York. I don't say that. This is not a homer pick. This is a straight up pick. I got Washington beating the Giants. I know Washington is not that good. I know that. Not without JD. And the play calling is teeter-tottering right now, but I've got Washington winning this game. Absolutely. Uh-oh. Some people are in trouble. Pete Carroll's fired a lot of people. Is Pete one and done in Vegas? If A.J. Brown, Hurts, and Saquon have anything to say about it, yes. Here's another double digit. Another double digit odd that I'm not going to touch. I don't like Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett came in and played well for Philly. He got himself a Super Bowl ring as a backup a year ago. Got traded to Cleveland, traded from Cleveland to the Raiders as a backup, and now he starts. Geno Smith is out. Vegas can't run the ball with Genty. Last week, 2 weeks, I should say, Brock Bowers didn't get a ball until late in both games. Trey Tucker. I mean, where's Tyler Lockett? Why are you not getting the ball to Tyler Lockett? Eagles are set to make an example. I think this is the one game that Vegas has the spread right. It's in Philly, it's not in Vegas. Saquon breaks 100 on the ground. A couple have made some observations that even in defeat, A.J. Brown has been gleaming because he's getting his yards and he's getting his catches, even in defeat. I'm not going to put nothing on you, brother. You're doing your part. You guys just aren't winning. But it fixes itself today. It fixes itself today. Philly wins this. They cover the spread. Next game. Woo! Green Bay at Denver. Listen to me. We know that Denver's defense is legit. Green Bay's defense has been up and down. Green Bay's offense has been okay. Since Watson has been back, they've been better. But Josh Jacobs is questionable. Wilson is questionable. They call up a guy off the practice squad to be a running back. Here's another team, 11-2, Denver. Are they a product of their schedule, or are they really that good? Defensively, yes. Offensively, this is where you're going to find some stuff out. If Michael Parsons can get to Bo Nix, and Bo can't get that ball out of his hand, Harvey, look, I'm not playing Harvey. Now, I put him in a flex, but he's not going to start for me. He's going to be my flex guy that if I see something a little better, out. Denver, they run the ball decently, but Green Bay, they play the run very well from time to time. I think this is going to be a game where they play the ball very well. I think this is a 1.5 point game as well. Green Bay finds ways to win. So does Denver. But Denver has found ways to win more so than Green Bay. It's really a toss-up game. But I'm going to give the advantage to the home team in Denver. Does this hurt Green Bay? Yes. Are they still on top of the division? Yes. Even after this loss, because remember, they got the tie. They got the tie. So I'm going to give it to Denver, and we'll move on to Detroit versus the Rams. This is an important game as well. I don't expect this to be a high-scoring game. Again, I don't expect the Rams and Carolina to be a high-scoring game either. But the Rams, I thought they were better than they are against the run. They're not. And Gibbs and Montgomery, Amon-Ra and Wilson versus Puka and Adams. Woo! But Gibbs and Montgomery versus Williams and Corum. Advantage Detroit. Receivers, Puka and Adams versus St. Brown and Williams. Excuse me. Advantage the Rams. Matthew Stafford versus Jared Goff. I gotta go with old man Stafford. Advantage Rams. Defense. I love the Rams defense. I do. They gotta stop the run. Gotta. Detroit's defense isn't as bad as it seems, but they're not that good. Advantage Rams. Special teams. The Rams at home, both play indoors, doesn't matter. I like Bates over the Rams kicker. Advantage Detroit. With that being said, Detroit needs to win this game if they want an outside shot of playing for the division in the last game of the season when they play Green Bay. Or if Chicago finds a way to keep on a come up. Chicago. They already lost twice to Green Bay. My mistake. I apologize. But if both Green Bay and Chicago lose, Detroit needs to win. They'll be a half a game back of Green Bay. And they'll be tied with Chicago. Right now, Detroit's on the outside looking in at the playoffs at 8-5, which is crazy. That shows how strong the NFC's top 7 are versus the AFC top 7. Let's point this out. But I got to go with the Rams in this game. Go advantage with the Rams. Carolina at New Orleans. New Orleans ruined a lot of tickets, including mine, last week. I don't know what happened. They just, without Alvin Kamara as well, they came out and played like gangbusters. 3-10. Carolina can literally win the division within the next 2 games with that Tampa loss to Atlanta. Carolina sits on top of the AFC South. They beat New Orleans. They have a full game over Tampa. They're motivated. Canales has done a great job. I mean, I didn't believe in Carolina. A lot of people didn't believe in Carolina, except Carolina. Do I think New Orleans is going to come out and put on a show like they did last week? Hell no. And I've slept on Carolina. I've been told a couple times not to sleep on Carolina, and I did. I'm not sleeping on this one. Carolina wins this game straight up and down. Straight up and down. Okay? Moving forward, Seattle hosts Indy. Old man Rivers. Literally. I'm 5 years older than Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was an elite athlete. I was a decent athlete. I'm okay athlete. Man, I'm not nowhere near where I was back in the day. Throwing the ball around at practice yesterday, felt like my rotator cuff was messed up. Just trying to throw 10 yards. I had to warm it up, right? You don't just come off. Well, Joe Flacco did, so I can't say you can't. Can't say can't. If Phillip Rivers comes off the couch and the sideline and beats Seattle and goes on a tear with Indy, in 5 games, he's going to get comeback player of the year. Forget what CMC has done. I don't see it. Not against that Seattle defense. Will Sam Darnold revert back to the old Sam Darnold? He's been up and down. He's been up and down. And they don't run consistently with Walker or Charbonnet. They need to just give Walker the ball. He's a volume runner. Splitting those carries with Charbonnet is a killer. I would say give Charbonnet the 3rd down runs again or 3rd down plays, but you got to give Walker the ball 20 times, man. He's a lathered up fact. Just like Derrick Henry. You can't give Derrick Henry the ball 10 times and expect him to be the animal that he is. 15 to 20 times for Derrick Henry. Walker, 20 or more. Honestly. Especially against Indy. Because with Phillip Rivers coming in starting, that does do wonderful things for Michael Pittman if Phillip can get him the ball downfield. I can see him getting the ball 20, 30 yards, but bombs, I don't know. Old man River. But you're going to have to key on Jonathan Taylor. That's the key. Run him. Run him to death. You're going to have to. That's the only way you make Seattle respect your passing game. Because they put Pittman one-on-one, or Pierce one-on-one, or Downs one-on-one. I think Pittman Jr. one-on-one, was he 6'4"? Phillip can throw a jump ball. Remember, he had Keenan Allen. He did. Before Justin Herbert had him, he had Keenan Allen. Tall guys. He loved the tight end, Antonio Gates. Got him into the Hall of Fame. Oh, the tight end? Oh, yeah. Look for him to do many, many things. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough, though. I think Shane Steichen is grasping at straws right now, trying to, right the ship. I think Indy was a product of their schedule. They're 8-5 now. I think they'll be 8-6 in this game. I got to go with Seattle, even though I still don't like Sam Darnold. Interesting game. Tennessee's bum ass. Yes, I said Tennessee's bum ass. They beat the Browns. They're now 2-11. They face the 9-4 San Francisco 49ers. And yesterday, it was a huge scare. Christian McCaffrey got downgraded to questionable. Yes, I ran to every site I'm on and grabbed Brian Robinson Jr. One, I'm in the playoffs in a lot of leagues. And I have Christian McCaffrey in almost every league, literally. This actually is a great handcuff at this point. Not just because of the scare yesterday, but because what happens in the playoffs, fantasy playoffs, which we're going to talk about shortly, when CMC does sit. Remember, they're using CMC like this is his last hurrah. He leads the NFL in receptions, a running back. He averages 5 to 7 receptions a game. And he's running the ball. Or he's one of the leading receivers. He has more receptions than most receivers. And he's running the ball. Listen, if I'm you and I'm in the playoffs, whether that scare actually put some fantasy sense in my head. Because I stayed away from Brian. I drafted him maybe once in a league where I had CMC just in case, right? And then I saw CMC was back to old CMC, I dropped it. But the fantasy sense kicked in. Later in the season, he may sit or he may get hurt. You'll still need that running back to fill that spot. Now, if you went running back heavy in your draft and went running back, that means you probably have another stud, right? But the volume that Brandon Robinson Jr. will get if CMC sits kind of makes up for not having 2 studs. And he's a power back. You're going to miss out on the receptions, for sure. But the power back gets the rock in the red zone. Unless your name's CMC. So, Tennessee, he's probably going to go crazy on you. Tony Pollard you not having an Eric Dickerson, Marshall Folk, whoever else combined type game. Ain't gonna happen, Calvin. Not at all. Not at all. 49ers all day. And even with this spread, this is I think a 6.5 point spread. They're gonna beat them by more than 14. Tennessee's garbage. I don't know what happened to Cleveland's defense. Can't explain, but it happened. Minnesota, Dallas. Minnesota put a whooping on Washington. I mean, an ass whooping on Washington last week. And I said, be careful. Don't let J.J. McCarthy feel comfortable. And he felt comfortable early. Washington got shut out. Here's the thing. Dallas defense does suck. But Dallas's new defense can get pressure on the quarterback. And with Wilson in the middle, you got Quentin Williams, nose tackle. They're getting pressure. Dallas is a legit threat. Now here's the thing. Can they combat Mr. Flores' defense? And Brian Flores is going to get a job next year as a head coach. He should. He absolutely should. My opinion. But Minnesota, look, if you have Justin Jefferson and you drafted him high, I get it because he's Justin Jefferson. But with J.J. McCarthy as the quarterback, that was a risky move. And you've seen how that has played out. I don't anticipate J.J. having much, even against this Dallas defense. McCarthy is wildly inconsistent. Dallas needs this win. Dallas is at home. Dallas gets the win. Let's go to the Monday night game, Miami at Pittsburgh. Look. Miami won a game in December, y'all. Let's bring it back to reality. Pittsburgh played an outstanding game versus Baltimore. There were still mistakes, yes. And in this game, TJ Watt is out. He's out. Best pass rusher is out. Also, Devin Achane from Miami, he's nicked up pretty bad. But he's going to play, I believe. The question is, will they get the ball to DK Metcalf like they have the past couple games to open up the field? Pittsburgh can do that. Miami does not play well in cold weather or bad conditions. They're in Pittsburgh. It's December. It's a Monday night game. It's going to be cold water coming off that. Land of Six Lakes or whatever it is. I don't know. Three Rivers, yeah. Off the Three Rivers into Heinz Field. Pittsburgh, all day. So let's do a recap. Okay? Pittsburgh, Dallas, San Fran, Seattle, Carolina, the Rams, Denver, Philly. A lot of home games, a lot of home teams. Washington, Buffalo, KC, Jacksonville, Houston, Baltimore, and Cleveland. Only got a few visiting teams winning this week. For my teasers for you guys, I'm taking the high ones. One, I'm picking Cleveland to win straight up, but for the teaser bet, I'm giving you 6 to 7 teams. Cleveland with the +6 or 6.5. Okay? Arizona with the +6, 6.5. The Jets +6, 6.5. Right? The Chargers plus 6.5. Who else? Detroit plus 6.5. Because that makes it a 12-point game. They're not losing by 12. Not losing by 12. Sorry to tell you. Not gonna happen. What's the other game? The other game. I had one more that I gave points on. I gotta look at my sheet. But if I'm not mistaken, it was Washington. Washington right now is a 2.5-point dog, but you take that 6, that makes it 9. They're not losing by 10 to the Giants if they lose. They're not doing that. But you can also, in my opinion, and just in my opinion, if you go on the over-under on the score, because I don't know what Baltimore's going to do, but I take that over. If it's 50 right now, 49.5 for Baltimore, Cincinnati, that drops it down to 43. Now, do I see 43 points getting scored between Baltimore and Cincinnati? Yes, I do. So that's 6. Well, no, because you can't pick. Yes. So Cleveland plus the points, the over-under in Baltimore, Cincinnati, I got the over. Arizona with the points, the Jets with the points, the Chargers with the points, Washington with the points, and Detroit with the points. Those are my over-under picks. All right. Here we go. Let's talk about some things. I'm going to share with you the league that I commish. And I'm going to break down the 2 quarterfinal matchups. I'm the number 1 seed. Someone else is the number 2 seed. So we have buys this week. Okay? And since we have buys, I just get to observe, right? And what I see is something very, very, very interesting. I'm going to show you guys matchups. Let me go to all matchups. How about that? Yeah. Let me show all the matchups. Okay. I'm about to share my screen with you all. Ooh-wee. Share screen. Here we go. So here I am, God of War, with a bye week. Also in a bye week, Washington Condors. Shout out to George. These are the 2 games right here that we're going to break down. First matchup we're going to break down is the Bowers that be, that's Q, aka Memo, going against Ultimate Madness, aka Truck. Truck has been a problem since after the draft. Truck does not want to return next year. I concur. I'm okay with that. Very okay with that. Memo. He's my guy. But he's been siding with my enemy, calling me the bad guy. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This is a matchup where I said Memo would not make the playoffs at the beginning of the season. I said he wouldn't, but he found a way to do it. He went from the number 3 seed all the way down to the 5th seed towards the end of the season. Let's check out this matchup. He has Josh Allen versus Jordan Love, Nico Collins versus Justin Jefferson, and this is going to be a problem in my opinion. there's going to be a problem. Cortland Sutton, so those kind of balance out in my opinion. But Puka Nacua, I believe is going to dominate, especially against Detroit's defense, as Nico Collins will probably do well versus Arizona, but not better than Puka. James Cook, outstanding work. But Woody Marks versus Arizona's run defense could be problematic. Again, New England is tough against the run. But Robert Spillane, he may or may not play. So, and Cook is a danger in the passing game as well. Can't forget that. Travis Etienne, I told you, him and Tootin, it could be something special. But I also like Kyle Monangai versus Cleveland. If Cleveland's defense stinks up the joint like they did last week, which I doubt they will, Monangai's in for a huge game. I think Monangai is going to get one touchdown, at least one touchdown, right? And look at the point differential, right? Almost 10 points between the two. So, I mean, that's fair. I love Brock Bowers, but I hate Kenny Pickett. I do. Theo Johnson, he's not getting this 9 points versus Washington. He might actually versus Washington, but I don't think he's going to get it. But Brock Bowers is the advantage. Harold Fannin, who Shador loves throwing the ball to. I like it. Aaron Jones versus Dallas. Here's the thing. Aaron has been giving up carries to Mason a lot. He's a weapon against Dallas for sure. But I believe they can offset each other. Even though that's a running back who's getting up a lot of time to Jordan Mason, Fannin is a rookie who's done better than Njoku, and Njoku is out. So it's a lot of checkdowns, and he comes out the backfield. They use Harold Fannin in many, many ways. Look out. Tony Pollard versus Jake Ferguson. And if you notice, Q went with 3 tight ends. 3 tight ends. I don't know if that's a smart thing. Going with 2 running backs. The quarterbacks right here, I'll be very honest. This is a watch. But take a look, guys. J.J. McCarthy to Justin Jefferson. So every time J.J. does throw to Justin, that's helping out Q's or Memo's opponent. The problem is he doesn't get it to Justin Jefferson a lot. Now Jordan Addison and others, yeah. Tua does not do well in December. I don't know what's up with Pittsburgh's defense, but we'll see. We will see. Kicker, Evan McPherson versus Cameron Dicker. I love Cameron Dicker, the kicker, especially versus Kansas City, because I think he's going to be kicking several field goals, plus a couple extra points or so. McPherson, same deal. I think they'll be in position to kick field goals. Will they do it? I don't know, because they're trying to get touchdowns. They know, Cincinnati knows, if they can get up by double digits, it's going to be hard for Baltimore. It's going to be hard for Baltimore to throw themselves back in the game. But field goals allow you to stay in the game. Here we go. Denver's defense versus Green Bay. Cleveland's defense versus Chicago. I like this matchup, but I also like Cleveland's defense better against Chicago if they don't shit the bed, so to speak. But Monangai directly affects his opponent. Denver and Green Bay. I think that's a push. Cam Curl versus Devin White. Devin White is not the same. Cam Curl's a safety. Detroit throws the ball a lot. Advantage Cam Curl. Jermaine Sherwood versus Jacksonville. I like it. He dropped. You already got 5.62 points for Levante David, right? I mean 5.33. He was scheduled to get 5.6, but he got 5.33. I think that's also a push. Bobby Wagner versus Paulson Adobu. I don't like this. He dropped Anzalone, who gets in there and gets tackles, but has been up and down, for Paulson Adobu versus Washington. If Washington throws the ball 40-something times in this game, which they probably might, he stands a good chance of getting tackles and maybe a pick. But I'd rather have a linebacker, especially one that's on Detroit's, one of them, either Campbell or Alonzo, instead of Adobo. But it is what it is. Bobby Wagner always gets over projection. Always. So I'm going to give to Bobby Wagner. My overall thought on this matchup, I don't like this area. I don't like, well, I don't care about that. I don't like this area right here. Those three tight ends versus one tight end and two running backs. These running backs are going to see volume. We're hoping Brock Bowers sees volume. Carl Fannin will see volume. Since he's questionable, I don't know. But ever since CeeDee Lamb came back, Ferguson's numbers have dropped. Who can he put in? Arondé Gaddison, Isaiah Likely, Jalen Wright, who I think you take a chance on. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I do. Especially if Devin Achane is seriously, not that set to play. He might play, but still. Jalen Wright has been getting some touches, a lot of touches too. So I would probably play him over Ferguson. Especially knowing that Ferguson is questionable, and with the return of CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, his opportunities are limited. But we'll see. We'll see. Gaddison is another situation that I'd look at. He's carrying 5 tight ends. Oh my God, I just realized that. Right? But each his own. I can't knock his hustle. Overall, I think Josh Allen is a better play than Jordan Love. Puka and James Cook and ATN, to me, outduel Collins, Sutton, and Marks. It's just a matter of opportunity. Big opportunity. And I play the winner of this matchup next week. The analyst in me says Truck wins this game. The unpredictability of it all, I really think Memo has a shot, especially with Josh Allen going against New England. I think Josh is probably going to get 50 points. I really do, because he's going to run a lot. Because they're going to see it's going to be tough for Cook to run a lot. And again, if Josh throws a touchdown to Cook, Cook gets it plus yards. Allen gets it plus yards, but Cook gets more because it's every 10 yards of receiving versus every 20 yards of passing. But they rely on each other. We'll see. Next game on the docket that we're going to go over. Laces Out versus Louisiana Coonasses. More background. I made a futures trade with Laces Out. This is why some people are hateful of me. I don't care. But Laces Out has, when you see what he has, he legit has a shot at winning the league if things pan out. Pause. Louisiana Kunassis. He's been with me in fantasy for over 20 years. From platform to platform. He's mad at me because a hater in this league has stoked a flame. And then they all ran with it. And I let it ride. But then when I started firing back at people, everybody got their panties in a bunch because I went for the kill. If you can't take what I give, then don't dish. Literally. He got mad at me because I said he can't draft. Of all things to really get mad at me over, that's what he said he was mad at me about. Whatever. But he's scheduled to win this matchup. Let's look at the teams. Here we go. Caleb Williams versus Joe Burrow. Look, Cleveland secondary is nice. And Caleb has not thrown over, 200 yards in the last 3 games. We know Joe Burrow's going to go crazy. We already know that. Advantage Joe Burrow. Romeo Dobbs versus Wan'Dale Robinson. That's the guy's name I was trying to say for the Giants. Nobody. But look, he has both Giant receivers in the starting lineup. Can't do it. I traded Rome Odunze to Laces Out with a futures pick, and I got a futures pick back for Tyler McBride. This was before Rome was out and questionable. But I like the stack. If Rome plays, that's a good stack, even though I don't like Caleb. But this is the problem right here. Even though Dobbs is not the main guy, and Watson is, I like Dobbs over both Wan'Dale and Darius. Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the kicker. Ashton Jeanty ain't done anything. I already told you, Indianapolis needs to run Jonathan Taylor to death. Ashton Jeanty needs to be ran because Kenny Pickett is not your savior. Ashton Jeanty needs to run the ball 25 times. I don't care if half of those are for negative yards. The other half are going to be positive and possibly big plays. Devin Chain looks like he's going to play. Still, he's going to be splitting time. He's going to be splitting time with Wright. Javonte Williams, I like it, but against that Minnesota defense, I'm worried. Darren Waller versus Dallas Goedert. Now, Dallas should do well versus Vegas, but Darren Waller is legit the really only other passing threat for Miami outside of Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle will probably get locked up with Ramsey. Darren Waller can assault that linebacking core as well as secondary of Pittsburgh. He's going to get a touchdown or two. But I like Dallas Goedert over here. So, you know what? I'm going to give that a watch. Jordan Mason versus Harvey. Now, I told you, I'm not sure if Harvey is going to do well versus Green Bay's defense because Green Bay's defense is up and down and stopping the run. Jordan Mason comes in, and he's the power bruising back. He's a short yardage back. And against Dallas's defense, which has improved, I think Jordan Mason can do well. I don't think Harvey gets that 22.75. I don't. Here is a wash. I don't agree with Worthy, and I don't agree with Hunt. The reason why I don't agree with Hunt is because Kansas City's going to throw the ball a lot. A lot. And with that being said, Hunt's going to come in for goal line and short yards. He might get a touchdown. He might. I don't expect him to get very much. So 13 points is about right. Now, Xavier Worthy, he has a chance of going ballistic versus the Chargers. But it's too many people to feed. Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Hollywood, right? Juju, Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. But Xavier Worthy is their big play receiver. But you got to gamble there. Dak versus Baker. Y'all know I love Baker, but Baker already played and only got 29.45. He almost met his expectation. Dak versus Minnesota's defense is key. But when you have Pickens and Lamb, there's a good chance that he gets these 33 points or more. Minnesota plays a lot of man because they blitz a lot. Corners are good, but Pickens and Lamb are exceptional. There's a big chance here. Aubrey and Boswell, I think two of the very best kickers right now in the league. Monday night, he has several Monday night, or a couple Monday night players. Let me make sure, just one. Okay. But a kicker is very, very important, especially in my league. Aubrey was a keeper, as you can tell by this symbol right here, and was a smart keeper because Aubrey was a late pick, and he's a dynamite weapon for Boswell as well. Against Minnesota, they'll be in position. Against Miami, they'll definitely be in position. I'm going to give it a push. But Philly versus Vegas, Kansas City versus the Chargers, I'm definitely leaning Philly. Kenny Pickett, Justin Herbert. Which defense you going to play? Definitely giving an edge to Philly, as they did as well. Jack Campbell, man, he's a run stopper. So if the Rams decide to run the ball a lot, he's going to be on the stat sheet a lot. They throw a lot, he'll be in there, but I don't know how much. You know, Kyle Hamilton's going to be around the ball. He's at the line of scrimmage. He's in the secondary. He's in the shallows. I kind of think that's... No, I'm going to give it to Jack. Henley versus Gray. Gray is consistent. He is consistent. And going against San Francisco, he's got plenty of opportunities to tackle CMC, whoever runs the ball. And they throw a lot over the middle of the field. So I definitely see that happen. Henley versus Kansas City. I don't think so, unless there's a lot of Noah Gray and Travis Kelce passes. I don't see him getting as much. So definitely, I give that to Gray. Here's the thing I've been saying all game: Spillane. Spillane can be a wrecker, a game wrecker. I believe he's going to play, especially after seeing the questionable. But Yahoo's rather slow sometimes on updating stuff. Blake Cashman, look, I think Van Ginkel is out. Cashman is no joke. No joke, but I like Spillane a lot better. A lot better. And even at the projections, you can see they're supposed to be projected for a close game, like a 9-point game. But I'm going to tell you, based off of this alone, I got to go with Argani B and Laces out. I think the 6 seed upsets the 3 seed. Now, what I did not do for the playoffs is reseed lower to play higher. So the number 2 seed, which is Washington Commodores, will play the winner of this game. And I think he faces Laces out. I think if he faces Hoss is going to have to step up his wide receivers. And let's see who he has on his bench. T. Higgins is out. I don't know why he's not putting Khalil Shakir in. I really don't. Or Keenan Allen, especially knowing that Quentin Johnson might not play. And Olakun, but he hasn't been that good lately. But I would play, this is just me, Keenan and Shakir, right? I would even do Keenan, Shakir. Yeah. And Wandale in where Kareem is. I would take Kareem out, put Robinson in that flex position. Slayton, no. I literally would put those two in there. I understand the projection. I really do. But this is a big time game for Buffalo, and Shakir is his #1 receiver. Keenan will be a factor, especially with Quentin Johnson not playing, especially if Kansas City comes out throwing the ball. This is just my thoughts. What Hoss does with his team is up to him. But if Higgins were in there, it'll be a little more difficult for me to give the victory to Laces Out. But dude, I'm afraid to face them if they get their stuff together. Jonathan Taylor basically carried this team throughout the season, literally. And McBride, right? And look at what he has here, Luther Burden. So he's got a fail-safe. If Rome doesn't play, he can put Luther Burden in. Perfect for him, right? Personally, I like Jake Elliott. But Boswell, he has two very good kickers. But for me, matchup-wise, Philly's going to score a lot. I would put Elliott in. I believe Pittsburgh will be in position as well, and Boswell's going to kick a lot, but I think you can go wrong with either one of those, right? But I would really be afraid to face this team because of those two players. Not too scared of those guys. That dude, of course. And if Higgins is in there, of course. But not with Robinson and Slayton. Not at all. But those are the quarterfinals in my league. And I look forward to facing whomever wins. Let's see. Can I show you? Well, this is showing it to you. All right. This would be your guy, Jerry Taylor, who used to be on this show. Yeah. Yeah. Tony, my guy. It's a difference. It's a difference. He's already at -8. That means he had Tampa's defense. Woof. A lot of things going on, guys. A lot of things going on. But with that being said, let's stop sharing my screen. And let's get to the last subject. Uh-oh. Good morning. Chasing upside since I played against Pitts. Thinking about starting likely over Goddard. What do you think? I also have Parkinson from the Rams playing an injured Lions secondary. Okay, Andrew. Hopefully you're still there. Let me put this up there. What I think about likely over Goddard? Isaiah Likely has been getting a lot of love as of late, and Mark Andrews has not. But Goddard against the Raiders secondary and linebacking core, I actually love that. He's going to get at least 4 catches, I believe, in this game. The question is, Cincinnati and Baltimore could be a shootout, or it could be a slow, knuckle-dragging run game, which I think it should be. That means Likely doesn't get that many opportunities. So for that, I definitely have to go with Goddard. Okay, got to go with Goddard on that one. And you say Parkinson, which is a tight end, Parkinson, I should say, which is the Rams tight end over the Lions in your secondary. I can agree with playing Parkinson, but not over Goddard and not over Likely. Why? Even though the Lions secondary is beat up, I believe Matt's still going to feed Adams and Puka a lot more than those feed Parkinson. Not to mention, they're going to run Kyrene and Corn. Dallas Goddard still has a similar situation, but Dallas Goddard is more involved in the play calling than Parkinson is, in my opinion. And if I look at it, Lions secondary versus Raiders secondary is worse. Absolutely is worse. So I would definitely have to go with Dallas Goddard only of the 3 tight ends that you mentioned. All right. But we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. All right. I'm going to turn the music off on this one. Because this next, actually, no, I'm going to change the music on this one. Y'all ready? I'm going to change it because the tone's about to change. University of Michigan fires head football coach, Sharon Moore. Coach Moore allegedly had an extramarital affair with a staff member on his team. It's not alleged. Well, it is alleged because it hasn't been proven as fact, but the school was informed of this situation in September. It is now December. The school conducted its investigation, and directly after the end of the season and the recruiting and commitment time frame, the university's AD fired him in his office. No HR people, no anything. One-on-one, fired him, had him escorted off campus. Allegedly for cause. At that time, Jerome was then taken into custody by the police department. He then was charged with, I forget what degree of assault, which we've now learned was the context of him going to his mistress's house, a younger lady, forcing his way into the house, allegedly, saying that that the young lady ruined his life, ruined his career, so on and so forth, and allegedly took a knife to his wrist and threatened to kill himself. Allegedly. At this time, the first person, allegedly, the young lady called was her lawyer. Not the police, not the emergency folks, but her lawyer. Her lawyer then advised her to do whatever, and then she called the police. Then Sharon, was locked up. We later find out that Coach Moore allegedly had impregnated this young lady at some point, and allegedly offered, and again, this one is a rumor that I saw. Both are rumors because we don't know, and that's why I said allegedly. Offered an OnlyFans model to engage in a threesome with him, his mistress, for tickets to some Michigan games or something like that, allegedly. So here's the issue. One, this is a danger to a male or female in a position of power. You notice I just didn't say male, because females in positions of power can do the same thing. How often? I don't know. Because it could be female on female, male on male. Either way, right? But in this case, if you're working with someone and you get a little close to them, closer than you should, things happen. Is it excusable? No, because hey, you're married, right? Not just that you're married, but this is a subordinate to you that, you know, if something happens, you hold their career in the balance. Now, I don't know how long the relationship was going on, but there was a consensual relationship. I don't think you have a situation that is going to turn out positive for Moore in any way. The charge that he received has a maximum of 5 years in prison if found guilty, right? Back in September, it was said that he might have some emotional or psychological problems. So y'all let him coach with this alleged mindset. Now you got to remember, when Harbaugh left, Jerome Moore was the offensive coordinator and part of the scandals that Harbaugh left behind. And as the head coach, he had to take on all those issues. So he already has a tainted, character. Then he creates the issue of his own with recruiting or whatever. Now this. Let's look at what Bobby Petrino and several other head football coaches and basketball coaches have done. Very similar. Now, did they, as the kids say, crash out like Jerome? Not that we know of. Were they arrested like Jerome? Not that we know of. They were fired, stayed low for a year or two, went to a lower level college, turned that program around after a couple years, then they're back on the national scene. I don't think that's going to happen with Jerome. Not with the legacy of problems that follow him through Harbaugh and then up to the ones he created himself. This does several things, and I'm going to get on University of Michigan in a second. This hurts badly the credibility of any minority head coach who already has a problem at getting hired to lead major programs. I didn't say getting hired. I said leading major programs. It's unfortunate because I'm not going to call this guy Barack Obama or nothing like that, but when you are the first and only black head coach at the University of Michigan, a predominantly powerhouse university in every sport and education, you are walking on eggshells every day you are there. So I don't care how good the young lady was, what she offered, what she gave you that your wife was not. The mindset has got to be, I'm representing more than just me. And I'm not just talking about black versus white or brown or any. What I'm saying is there aren't many people that are of a different hue leading power schools. And I'm definitely not saying kowtow. Definitely not. Be who you are, but understand the responsibility that you hold as that leader, as Obama did. He couldn't give every black person everything they wanted, but he did do some things that benefited people of color. But he also took care of the entire United States, not just people of color. But every little thing he did went back to his ethnicity, according to Fox News and others. That's my point. You can look out for everyone and not just your people, but there are those who will just zero in on your ethnicity and show how this group, that's what they'll say, this group of people are. But when you have Patrinos and you got, the whoever's, it's that individual, not that group of people. Michigan, if it is true that you knew of these situations and you were investigating them, Jerome Moore should have been suspended for the season pending the results of the investigation. With them being this serious, he should have been suspended with or without pay, not my concern, up until the investigation was complete. And once the investigation was complete and you guys found enough evidence to fire him, you fire him right then and there. Not after the season, not after he sat down in front of some of these families and said, let your son come play at the University of Michigan to get a great education and he'll have a chance to win a national championship. You don't do that. Now you put yourself, the school, in a liable situation. Especially if it's found that Moore actually did have mental issues. And he's in charge of a program that has over 200 kids, and I don't know how many staffers. And he's going into these other people's homes recruiting. Do you know how many lawsuits you might find yourself in? Do you realize that Sharon can do a lawsuit versus you because you fired him for cause, but you have not mentioned the cause? We know what it is, but is that what you have down on paper? Michigan, do better. You gave someone an opportunity off the strength of Jim Harbaugh. Thank you. You're going to give somebody else an opportunity. The rumor is ASU's head coach, the Sun Devils head coach, is rumored to be the leading contender for that position. New blood, new face, new everything. I get it. Wipe the slate clean of all of Harbaugh and anybody connected to Moore. Fully understand that. Fully understand that. But understand what might come your way when you take that position as the head coach. Sanctions already there from under Harbaugh. They're going to be there a lot longer because of more situations. So any head coach going to Michigan, they're going to have to deal with the circus and the consequences of all these actions. They really are. So be aware. But Mr. Moore, you need to understand it ain't worth it, bruh. Everybody's not perfect, you know. I get it. Everybody's not perfect. And even if you make a bad decision to move in a direction with someone, if it's one time, two times, whatever, but you made a relationship of it, you have now put everything you have on the line. Not the young lady. She plays her part, no doubt. No doubt. But you, my friend, have a bigger role and responsibility in this. We are all sinners. We all are. No one's perfect. That position and what you sacrifice to have that one young lady that you're not even ending up with, because you didn't leave your wife, but your wife is probably going to leave you. You lost your job, probably millions, because you're going to get sued at some point, plus your lawyer fees and all that. It is what it is. I wish you the best and hope that when this is cleared up, you can restore your name. Because from what I can tell, you're a very good coach. You're an emotional coach. You care about the students. You care about the players. But you got to make better decisions, my guy. Better decisions. All right. With that being said, that's going to end this program, y'all. I ended my music right there. I want to thank everybody for coming on board. Excuse me. I appreciate you and welcome you to come back anytime and every time. Honestly, I do. We'll be here next week talking about how things ended up in the league, week 16 in the NFL, and any news and notes that go on, and answering questions. Let's see if you can cash in on my teasers. I appreciate you. See ya next week.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?